Hey guys, so it's time for another video, and it finally happened. I actually finally got the 4th Raikage from the Great Ninja War Treasure. My server is about 7 months old, and I spent all my seal scrolls in this treasure. So roughly, that's how long it'll take you to get your own 4th Raikage. Here he is in his splendid glory. I'm gonna do some test teams and an overview of this ninja. So let's go over to the awakening statistics. So this is him at red +5 awakening. Let's take a look at his growths. So 2.6k life, that's insane. That's pretty much one of the highest life growths you'll ever see, which makes him a really good tank. His defense and resistance are pretty up there, they're pretty on par, so he can definitely take a beating. His ninjutsu growth isn't that great, but most of his abilities do scale with taijutsu, which is why he has a 1600 attack growth, which is also really great. Here are the total stats. So 14k life, 19k health, 7.5k defense, almost 11k ninjutsu, 8k resist. So for this ninja I would recommend a plus taijutsu mood and probably a minus ninjutsu, because I don't believe he uses ninjutsu that much. So let's take a look at his skills. This is basically lightning armor, except you get 4 attacks instead of 3. What's important is when you use this, all the debuffs that you are currently afflicted. So for example, let's say you are blinded, then when using this, the blind does go away, and that's a change they introduced in 4.0, because it used to be where you use lightning armor while blinded, the blind wouldn't go away, but now it does go away. A standard attack, attack one of the opponent's units, a random one, and he'll get tagged. The skill might also cause free combo and high float. His first passive, basically, if somebody is tagged, they will always get the second portion of the high float and free combo. Let's see, second passive gives him basically super armor, and he heals by a certain percentage in case of damage caused by a taijutsu attack. And let's take a look real quick how big that percentage actually is. So this is the old breakthrough document. It's 40% of the damage he deals. So basically 40% lifesteal. And his chase is a high float knockdown immobile. Alright, so overall he's a really strong ninja. Currently we don't have the breakthroughs that they have in China, which makes him even stronger. But first I'm gonna showcase some possible teams you can do if you have your own A. So this is a, I would say, intermediate version. You start off by applying your lightning armor, and then your third A on this line will attack, will cause the tag. Samui under chases also applies tags, and lastly the Earth Main will apply the ignition, and now A attacks, removes the tag, you re-tag with Samui, and he goes after the same target again. And then you get enough chakra because Samui gives the entire team chakra, so you can buff your team with the Earth Mystery, which causes everyone to attack again, and also removes a layer of debuffs. Here you go. And he goes after him again. Samui to auto attack. Samui, by the way, hits really hard, and I do recommend putting a plus taijutsu mood and minus ninjutsu mood on her. Your second turn you can start off strong with a third A repulse attack. You got the knockdown immobile chase, then you've got the ignition chase, and then they're pretty much dead. Now this team focuses a lot on hitting as hard as possible in the first 2 turns, and once those 2 turns are over you do run out of steam, but pretty much everyone dies by the time this 3rd turn comes around. Now the weaknesses of this team, let's say your one of your A's gets immobile, you actually need to wait until your ninjas attack, I believe, get 20 chakra, on turn 1, and you get restore 15 every time a hidden cloud attacks. So you need to wait for 2 of your ninjas to attack, and once they attack you'll have the 40 chakra required to pull off your Earth Main Mystery. Now you don't have to put them on a life here on the front, but I do prefer them being just a bit tankier. It's fine if you move them like back here, but then you lose the attack buff from some way. Now as for moods, I would recommend putting a plus taijutsu minus defense on A, on both A's, because their biggest weakness isn't getting killed by standard attacks. Their weakness is getting controlled, and your resistance does help a bit against being controlled, I believe. Or maybe it only reduces ninjutsu damage that you receive, but either way you want to be more tanky against that kind of stat. Potential of reducing the ninjutsu damage suffered. So yeah, you are a bit squishier against ninjutsu than you are against actual standard attacks. So that's the mood I would recommend going for them. As for Samui, I would recommend going a plus taijutsu minus ninjutsu, because she doesn't use ninjutsu at all, and any extra damage that you can have is great. Also, her mystery, the Cloud Style Flying Blade, costs 0 chakra, can be used from turn 1, applies tag and interrupts, and it actually hits pretty hard. I've seen it hit up to like 12k. Lastly, for your Earth main, I would recommend going for plus life minus attack, and of course the talents. The reason you go plus life and minus attack is because your character won't attack at all. All he does is be in charge of applying this petrifying jutsu, which gives your team a shield, and you want him to stay alive. So for the mystery, I've chosen this one. This gives your entire team an extra standard attack. You'll have 1 layer of debuffs cancelled. Yeah, this is basically just to ensure the extra damage that you can get. For this chase, I've chosen the primary Lotus, High Float, Knockdown, and Ignition. This basically counters cancer teams, because if you apply the Ignition, they can't heal. For the second passive, I've chosen Pose of Duel. Your Samui will actually give a shield to everyone, so from the very start you'll already have the shield applied, where everybody gets 30% extra ninjutsu and attack. And once again, this is a blitzy kinda team. For the fourth passive, I've chosen Guidance. This unit is in the field, all male units. That's an important part, male units only will get their combo rate increased by 40 and attack by 20. So this is basically another buff on top of this. So just from these two, you'll have an extra 50% taijutsu, 40% combo, and 30% ninjutsu, which is huge. This also helps your 4th Raikage to apply the standard attack, where he applies the High Float without being tagged. And obviously you need the Flood Dragon to make the combos work. I believe you can also use this instead, Dog of Hell, and use the Earth Style Sphere of Graves. So if you don't have the Flood Dragon, you can use that instead. There's also another variation of this team, where you run Darui instead. So let's say you don't have the 3rd Raikage, you can put the 4th here. I would put Samui over here, and I would put Darui like here. So this team will give you a barrier, but if you have low initiative, the barrier will just get overridden by the enemy. But yeah, this team focuses a bit more on the turn 1, and it makes your turn 2 just a tad weaker. You put your Samui here, so you have a turn 2 interruption. If you believe you don't need the interruption and you just want your Darui to go faster, you can put him here. But usually most people put their big turn 2 damage dealer on the front, so the chances that you are gonna be faster than the opponent is pretty slim. And I do believe, let's check the combo creator, I do believe that the combo stays roughly the same. So Crimson Fist, put your 4th Raikage here, Darui here, and you Samui here. You just put them all in here like this, because you can fiddle with your teams here. Then you press, set up your standard attack and your mystery. The rest will automatically change. Then you click this auto combo button, and it tells you to use the Flood Dragon along with the Repulse. So then you go back, and you still use the Flood Dragon, but now you go Repulse. And this is basically the Darui version of the team. It's also reasonably effective. You get the 10 combo paralysis up to 3 units, which can be a pretty big game changer. But you do lose out on the turn 2 big hit thingy. So if you somehow got 4th Raikage, I would think about spending the 210 scrolls needed to get this 3rd Raikage as well. So that's this team. And then I've also made this team over here. This is a more controlling type team. Let's take a look at the talents first. So I've got the Dance of Impetus, obviously resetting your mysteries. So turn 1, you're gonna use your Raikage, you're gonna tag the enemy, you're gonna blitz him. Turn 2, you're gonna use your Shisui, you're gonna do the entire combo, and then you can also reset your mystery. So for standard attacks, I've chosen the Shadow Clone Jutsu because Shisui is pretty squishy, so you do want to protect him with some kind of clones in front of him, or maybe a tank. But I've chosen to take the clones. And the way this synergizes with my chase is, if you do High Float Repulse, you get an extra standard attack. So basically spawn 2 clones every turn, 2 to 4 clones, because this can also generate 2 clones instead of 1. So basically it's a dice roll. I get 2 dice rolls and I can spawn a 1 or a 2. So I can spawn 1 clone, or 2 clones, so a total of 4 clones. I've chosen Flower Guard to prevent my main from getting controlled, and the Samui from getting controlled, and I've chosen Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu just to spawn the 3 clones in the front. And the reason I've positioned them this way is so that the clones will spawn like this. Alright, so the Shisui is gonna start off with his auto attack. As you can see, the clone spawn in front of all my ninjas. The Shisui chases applies tag as well, and Samui applies a tag. So now A will guarantee go after him. Now you use your Samui to go after this guy. That's a bit too late, but that's basically how it works. And then my clones, see? My clones wanted to spawn 4, but I only have room for 2. But obviously the enemy is gonna kill 1 or 2 clones when it's their turn. Now, for turn 2, I'll be using my Shisui Mystery. It's gonna apply Chaos that lasts for 2 rounds. I'm gonna chase to apply the tag. And now if my enemy isn't quick enough to stop me from getting my mystery off, I get to use my A again. And if possible, I can also interrupt one of their mysteries. Obviously too late there, but there you go. Now A can go ham again. And there you go. That's basically how this team works. I do believe Samui is kind of a necessity that you really need to have if you're gonna decide to run A, because A without any buffs really doesn't do that much damage. You really need to pour all of your resources into the A, and that's also what's happening in China. So that's this team. Let's fumble it together real quick over here. I believe it's like this. And then for your position 2, instead of running for your Samui, you can actually run Kuruna instead. It will also benefit from the, let's see, do like this, this. Go. So instead of running Samui for the extra damage, you run Kuruna instead, who gives you the Chaos Chase, because a fully skill broken Kuruna will apply Chaos on her chase, and it removes all debuffs plus it heals with her mystery, and her standard attack can also cause chaos. So if you want a even safer option, you run Kunai instead, and then basically whenever one of your characters gets immobile, let's say a Masked Man goes on A, then you can just use the Kunai mystery like that, and it'll get removed. And that's basically it for the teams. I'd say this is like high level because you've got 2 rare ninjas. Let's say this is like mid level because you can get A for only 210 scrolls, the third one, but obviously you wouldn't be watching this video if you don't have this one, or you want to find out about breakthroughs. And yeah, the Dari version, basically where you put Dari instead of third A, is the cheapest option basically, because Dari is a 60 pull and Samui is also a 60 pull. Alright, lastly, let's talk a bit about the breakthroughs. Like A right now is in a pretty okay spot, but he doesn't really get used that much because there's much better options. So let's take a look at his mysteries. So this, I'm gonna document what mysteries I think are the best to choose from. So first of all, his lightning armor mystery. He gets a really important breakthrough. This is like the most important thing for him. When chakra is above 90, this mystery will not consume chakra and will not suffer from cooldown. Now what this means is basically you can use this mystery every single turn as long as you have the required amount of chakra. So his mystery needs to be +2, and this is the most important breakthrough because you can use this mystery every turn as long as you have above 70 chakra. Let's see, his standard, obviously standard +1. Now his passive, let's see, does he have a passive? No, passive 2. Alright, so his first passive, we'll call it passive 1. Obviously you want that to be +1 as well. He gets a very important breakthrough here. Removes super armor for 1 round. So this is basically the super armor killer. If they're running something like a Han, you can just combo his ass, get him out of here. Susanoo Itachi, combo his ass, get him out of here. Susanoo Sasuke, Gaara. Basically everyone that has super armor now gets fucked by A. As passive 2, you can choose between the normal breakthrough or the Y breakthrough. See, his normal breakthrough gives him 80% lifesteal, basically doubling his lifesteal, and his Y break gets him scaling damage with chakra. So the more chakra you have, the more damage you do. But in my opinion, this lifesteal portion is way better than some extra damage because you can already use his mystery every single turn. You don't really need that much extra damage, especially when the other option is to give you 80% lifesteal. So passive 2, I would recommend going for +2. And his third passive, really the kind of an extra, you know, on top of everything. It's nice to have, but you don't really need it. You can chase twice, but it does 10% less damage. That's literally it. So yeah, not that important. I'll put that last. So the first thing is breakthroughing his mystery. After that, I would go for his super armor removal. After that, I would go for the standard attack. Let's see, you either have the choice between the standard or the passive, so that's a choice you're gonna have to make for yourself. And his passive is obviously all the way at the bottom. Personally, I think I would like, yeah, I think I'd put the armor breaker above it. So we'll do mystery, then super armor cancel. So his passive 1. Then I would put the lifesteal, then the standard attack, and lastly I would put the third passive. Now he also has a Y mystery break, but this is kind of really useless, nobody uses this. When used A and 1 Kage level ninja, so someone like Minato, Mei, become immune to debuffs. Each units will use 2 standard attacks, and the critical hit gets raised by 15%. And at +1, it's 3 standard attacks. So it's interesting, but because of the way A works, you need to pour all your resources into making him as strong as possible. So if you're gonna buff him and another ninja, it's like, you know, it's really I mean, feel free to experiment with it. I'm not sure if the third... I would expect him to also be counted as a Kage level ninja. Let's see. Is there even a Kage attribute? Secret... So he's either Tensei... Alright. If the third Raikage counts as a Kage ninja, you could possibly use the third and fourth Raikage with this mystery. And see how it goes from there, because both of them will get free attacks. It's something, you know, interesting, but you don't get the Super Bulldozer A using 4 standard attacks every turn while healing 80% of his life, while being immune to debuffs, while cancelling super armor, you know? And that's really what he's all about. And I think I've pretty much covered everything there is on this ninja. If you got any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. And good luck and have fun. Bye!